Hi, thanks for attending today's session. My name is Paul Vincic, and I'm the Global Director for Financial Services. Today's session is going to be called Qlik in Lending Institutions. I'm going to be talking about an intro to Qlik in lending, a little bit about lifetime customer profitability. Jesus Seteno will be talking about managed services providers with Qlik, and a special guest called Polygon Research will be talking about their solution that they have currently in the market called Hum Division. And then finally, of course, a call to action. So let's talk a little bit about the industry success. We currently have over 2,000 banking customers across the globe. 94% of the top 20 in US and EMEA. These banks and customers are solving extremely complex business problems, and Qlik overall has industry expertise and success that is repeatable. Where we play is what I call the data and analytics supply chain. On the left-hand side, you've got data management, data lake onboarding, all the way up through publishing into a marketplace. The Qlik Data Manager currently acts as an ETL that can bring data from multiple places. We have the Associative Big Data Index on the market, and always, in our case, there is multiple data sources. In the center is the analytics piece of the supply chain. We have a full library of geocalculations, and we call that geospatial or geoanalytics. A broad and deep library of functions and expressions that are very commonly used and necessary in the analytics space. And if it comes to data science, we're building cognitive and artificial intelligence and machine learning into our product. But you also have the option to integrate with programs such as Python or R or Data Robot. And very interesting, these integrations are two-way integrations there, and there are multiple options for all of this. All of this analytics is actually driven by what we call the associative engine. The associative engine is very, very different from relational databases, and I'll speak to that in a moment. But the effect of it is that bringing all the data in memory, creating a model inside of that memory that essentially is a full outer join. It provides smart Google-like search across all dimensions and across multiple dimensions in the model. And we've taken those APIs and we've opened them up. And the benefit of that is having a broad library of APIs listed with multiple JavaScript libraries. We can then extend the platform, and we'll get into that a little bit. For example, certainly we have the ability to create guided dashboards and full-blown self-service and governed self-service. Static reporting and alerting if needed, but having those APIs and the ability to embed them, ability to use them by other platforms, you can take Qlik and embed anything in it, or use the Qlik engine in any other platform, such as Salesforce, such as ServiceNow, such as your own homegrown web portal. You can also build custom applications. We've actually just purchased a company called Crunch Data, and it essentially provides a chatbot that can be displayed inside of Skype or Microsoft Teams or anything for that matter, any kind of chat for that matter. And then everything in Qlik automatically works online, and we also have an offline solution, and you can also integrate with your EMM such as BlackBerry or Mobile Iron. Again, the entire data, analytics, and insights supply chain can be handled with this one platform, or you have the option to use any number or any combination of these value propositions. Let's take a little bit step back here and talk about the Qlik associative engine compared to traditional query-based or relational databases. In typical reporting environment, in a query-based data viz or query-based reporting, you have levels of hierarchies. And as you create these reports, you have to look at perhaps the country, such as US, the state, such as New York, the county, and maybe the actual address of the customer, let's just say. Well, what happens now when you actually want to cross over and look at that customer, what else that customer does business, or what other relationships we have with those customers? You can't. In fact, this is the primary issue with linear query-based data viz, is you have to have the end in mind first, and you're not able to. And this is why we result in creating thousands of reports, for example, to try to answer thousands of different questions. The problem is that the question is different every day. And with Qlik's associative engine and bringing all the details from all the tables and putting them in a data model that then is reusable by the organization, it benefits you by having these dynamic associations, always accessible and related to all the clicks. You have Google-like search, we call it smart search, that searches across all dimensions. It searches across multiple dimensions and combination dimensions, and the ability to freely explore in any direction, up, down, or sideways. And also drill the details. Drill the details is very important. The everything, having all of the details in Qlik and aggregating at the end, you always have access, and you're one click away from having all the details at your fingertips. Use cases in financial services, in banks and lending institutions is really far and wide. With over 2,000 customers, the customers may start out with one particular use case, such as branch analytics, for example. But quickly what they realize is you're able to take those data models, those common data models, and build multiple use cases off those data models. So this is a view, I call it the spider diagram, and really it's a view of all the types of activities inside of a financial services firm or a banking firm or a lending firm that would include the use of data. And that's exactly what we have is a end-to-end solution, or a potential, your option to use Qlik as an end-to-end solution for any one of these multiple areas or use cases. Let's talk about a little bit about lifetime profitability in lending. I call these functional data areas. On the left-hand side, you've got pipeline analytics. It might be looking at what the pipeline is, how the pipeline's moving up and down, the relationship between metrics of the borrower, such as FICO and LTV, debt to income type ratios, looking at agency or dealer or broker relationships, risk profiling, approval ratios, conversion ratios, you name it. The entire set of types of KPIs that you would look for and use cases that you would look for in pipeline can be covered. On the second column, we have new business volume, and this is looking at the price or rate and volume of what's going on the books. Now that you've fed this through an application or loan through the pipeline and funded it, it's good practice to have a pro forma pricing model, so you're able to see what is the projected profitability of everything that's been put on the books. Very complex, multiple different tables, everything from the customer and funding tables to funds transfer pricing, to economic capital ratios, all these things, economic capital tables, all these things needed to look at what is the potential profitability or projected profitability of the loans that have been put on the books. And then the third column is, now the loans are on the books, well, how are they performing? And these are things from analyzing delinquencies and trends of delinquencies to non-accrual ratios, vintage analysis and loss reporting, extremely powerful stuff. Having all the data inside a Qlik model, a vintage analysis is now can be a slam dunk. Something that was very difficult before can be easily created inside of this model, because again, the aggregations are happening on the end, not at the beginning, so you can slice and dice through these types of things. Really popular use cases I see also is the branch profitability and the call center analytics. These are areas that that common data model or complex data model has been solved inside the Qlik engine. is now available to solve many other use cases and put information all the way out to the edge. And then, of course, the disposition, and I call the disposition asset management. It can be everything from end of lease reporting to gross charge-offs or net charge-offs analysis, residual realization on securitizations, bankruptcy reporting, geolocation, where are assets that are now off the books, and leasing that for that matter. Property tax analysis can be extremely complex. That complex business model and data model can be solved inside a Qlik and deliver valuable solutions. So again, the entire, what I call the lifetime customer profitability and lending, we see our customers using us for, in some cases, this entire life cycle, and in some cases, just parts of it. And now I'm going to move it over to Yubamira, who's going to speak about their Qlik solution called Home Division by Polygon Research.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ljubomira Boreš, President of Polygon Research. I have 15 years of financial services experience, majority of which is in mortgage banking with roles covering strategy and compliance at lenders. I am a certified mortgage banker, active participant in the industry through knowledge sharing, advocacy, and education. We live in a world where information is power. Polygon Research was founded by data experts and mortgage bankers to harness that power. Our managed services help lenders build successful market strategies by quantifying the market opportunities, and compliance strategies by quantifying the risk exposure. Clients include independent lenders, leading industry associations, and a government-sponsored enterprise.
And hi, this is Greg Olivan, CTO of Polygon Research. Our observation is that workplaces, whether public sector or private sector, share the same constraints around data. They need to acquire it, understand it, and put it to use to reduce uncertainty and ultimately make decisions. We call this becoming data-centric, and that's what we help our clients to do. And we do it via our partnership with Qlik, and specifically our use of the Qlik Analytics platform and Qlik Sense. And we're happy to showcase our app, Home Division, that we've built on this platform.
So as Greg mentioned, Home Division is delivered as a service. We saw a need in the marketplace for an efficient and affordable tool to generate market insights that support sales teams on the go. So we applied our methodology, Qlik Sense, and we modeled the publicly available HMDA data that covers 92% of all mortgage transactions for 5 years to come up with this solution. In addition, the technology allowed us to pull in additional data sets such as the census data from the American Community Survey in order to provide insights into the demographics and the housing makeup of neighborhoods. We also saw a need to derive business value from already reported HMDA data. Lenders spend enormous amount of energy, time, resources reporting that data, but vast majority of them do not have an analytical tool that helps them tell the fair lending story within the local context and in relation to their market peers. There are 3 uses of Home Division, broad uses. The first one is the market intelligence use, used by loan officers, their branch managers, and marketing teams. It helps them gather the required facts to put together market plans, and the facts that they see and the insights they can get from our app is the size of the market, the loan products, the pricing, the borrower segments, their competitors, peers, growth patterns, and so on. Also, the mortgage loan officers, because our Home Division is delivered as a service, can access that type of market intelligence 24/7 throughout the year. The second use is as a competitive intelligence for mergers and acquisitions to evaluate the potential targets, their lending patterns, and business models. And finally, it is unparalleled as a compliance intelligence, highlighting the underwriting, pricing, redlining, steering, and marketing risk indicators.
And so Polygon Research, as a Qlik managed service provider, is able to achieve all of these goals and meet all of these needs via a subscription to a service that's already packaged and hosted in the cloud. Let's take a look at what that looks like in our architecture diagram. We provide secure identity as a management, a secure login via web browser. It's zero footprint from our client's perspective. They just need a web browser, and we do all of the rest in the cloud. Take advantage of the inherent nature of cloud, the separation of compute and storage, so we're able to optimize and scale what needs to be optimized in order to provide great performance for our clients. And in addition, we have the inherent flexibility that the cloud offers to be able to add data whenever it is released by the sources that Lubomir has mentioned, and update our app on the fly continuously.
Let's take a look at HumDivision app. With a hyperlink, we can go to any of the sheets available in the app. For the demo, we are taking you to the originations sheet, and we are going to talk about how HumDivision is an effective market intelligence tool for loan officers at mortgage lenders. Let's assume for our purposes that we are talking about a newly hired mortgage loan officer at an independent bank, and as such, that loan officer, the first task is to define the market area, to understand the competition, to understand the housing and demographic makeup. For that, she can use HumDivision to perform a market analysis that would lead to developing a viable and well-organized marketing plan to support the loan production strategy of the branch manager that she will be working with. Let's assume the mortgage loan officer is located in Florida, and to define the geographic area, she might want to go further to an MSA level. From that, she can determine two things. First of all, this is a large geographic area, also a fairly large market by number of units and also by loan production. And to be effective, she needs to narrow it down. She can also see what the surrounding areas are, what is the surrounding area of the market that she would be focusing on, let's say Hillsborough County. So again, statistics are available for number of loans produced, volume. She can even look at this information from here to say, well, what is the purchase market? I just want to focus on the purchase market. Everything changes, including the competition, once she narrows down and defines her market further. But let's leave it just at the county level. From the tree map, she has an ability to understand her competition and their market share and the type of lender. The top 50 chart gives her information about the intensity of the competition. In this case, top 50 controls 70% of all loans produced in this market in 2017. Key dimensions, she can understand the competition in the market further by lender size to see whether this is mostly a playground for a marketplace for the big lenders or for the small lenders. Over the years, we see that the small lenders with less than $100 million in assets, they have increased in power in Hillsborough County in Florida. From here, she can also explore what is driving sales in this particular market. The lending officer understands that home purchase by absolute number has been the driver of sales. It almost doubled from 2013 to 2017. This information is available by share, And similarly, this information confirms that home purchase, in this case, drives sales. Other types of dimensions are available. For example, product type as a driver of sales, neighborhood income group, where most of the sales are occurring, whether the sales are being driven in particular tracts. In this case, we see a clear trend of rising of originations for mortgages to purchase properties in minority tracts. We can also explore the nuances of ethnicity and borrower income group, applicant sex and race, and so forth. Once the loan officer has a good understanding of the geographic area that this lending officer will be covering, the competition, the drivers of sales, the loan officer can go now to the housing market overview sheet and very quickly understand the total housing units in the market, which is available by type of ownership. For example, how many of those units are owner occupied, and just get a general bearing of the size and the conditions of the housing market. The last sheet we are going to visit for the demo would be the population household overview. This information is available by number of households or number of people. The lending officer understands the general demographic makeup, understands what is the share of minority and Hispanics in this market. All of these pieces of information are easily collected and analyzed, as we saw, and they become an input for this viable, well-organized marketing plan that will help the loan officer solicit customers, create a referral base, and ultimately contribute to the success of the loan production strategy at this particular lender, that independent lender we saw in our demo. Thank you for your time today, and we look forward to your questions at the Q&A.
Test. And now I'm going to move it over to Yubamira, who's going to speak about their Qlik solution called Home Division by Polygon Research.